what's new this week in comics, Joe. Why don't you kick us off with Marvel?
All right, so we have Darth Vader 21, X Deaths of Wolverine number 5, which we will touch upon in a minute. Iron Man 18, Devil's Reign X-Men number 3, Venom Lethal Protector number 1, Devil's Reign Villains for Hire number 3, Shang-Chi number 10, Wolverine Patch number 1, Savage Spider-Man number 2, and Elektra Black, White, and Blood number 3. Nicholas, which one would you like to talk about first?
Well, I just would like to say I read Venom Lethal Protector and it was fine. Like it's definitely it's more of the character's past, but I'm going to start us off with, we got 2 Wolverine books. We got to talk about both of them. Wolverine Patch issue 1. Are you going to read this?
Do you want to claim dibs? I haven't read it yet.
I already read it. No, I'm definitely not claiming dibs on this. So I reviewed this for Geeks Worldwide. That's up right now, available for everybody. Came out on Monday. This Wolverine Patch issue 1, gave it a 7 out of 10. Really just kind of, and I know it's Larry Hama coming back and writing the character and everything. I just didn't do much for me. A big part of the problem that I cited in the review was there's a point, Joe, like, I'm the first person to say, like, yeah, we don't need narration in the story. I'm fine with it. But there's a point where Wolverine's talking and it's like, these are definitely things you're not going to vocalize. These are definitely just things that like you would say to yourself in your head. And it felt weird for me to see the character doing that. We're talking about a patch story and it's separate from Koa and everything. I definitely want something more grounded. It is that, but it also just kind of felt like, okay, whatever. Like it just didn't do a whole heck of a lot for me. So I will probably read the second issue. I did like the art quite a bit. I think it's only 3 issues, but we get the review copy, so it definitely makes a difference. I will report back on it if it takes a turn, but I just think like when you're talking about buying it, I'm not sure about that.
Gotcha. Okay, good, good. Saves me some time. I can read something else.
Now, what about X Deaths of Wolverine issue 5? I think so. We got to. I mean, this is so we've been waiting for we're waiting for this, to happen. Ben talked about how this is the ultimate Wolverine story, and I'll tell you what, it's not just the ultimate Wolverine story. This has some serious freaking ramifications on the X-Men universe and everything. Yeah. I mean, the end of that issue, I'm thinking too. We have one character who's narrating, through more of X Deaths, but like, I kind of got confused with the narration at the end there. But then you see like that final image is like, oh, all right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Percy wasn't fucking around when he said that this is a game changer. This was a game-changing event. And I'm glad that, I had you had told me to read Inferno beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. I did, because it was very important. And we've got the news about the new Hellfire Gala series coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And so like everything's tying together because Marvel's been doing this thing now for a while, where at the end, of their, one of the back pages of their issues, especially on these big mainline, they'll tell you like the order of the books that they're coming out and the importance that they have in that particular storyline.
Maybe do that with Devil's Reign too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've given up on trying to read the side stories to Devil's Reign, but there's X-Men, and then the guy, a lot of stuff. This was a very impactful book, very impactful story. The ramifications are going to have massive ripple effects, and I loved that throughout this series they tied it back into the original House of X Powers of 10. Right, which was like 2 years ago now. Like, it's okay. It's bringing it back to that, and so X-Men's on fire right now. Wolverine's on fire. Percy's on fire. I'm loving it again. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, this was Benjamin Percy's been great with Wolverine, and that's honestly, Joe. Like when I look at Wolverine Patch, like part of my other problem with it is like, Benjamin Percy's really freaking good with Wolverine. Like, I really like what he's done. So, like, if you're not up to that level, it's like whenever Ben decides, I've said all the stories I need to say with Wolverine. We know he has a ton more. Again, go back and listen to our interview.
Wolverine 20 is slated to come out later in June, I think.
Is it June? Is that what it is?
So.
I thought it was. Either way, he's obviously not done with the character now. But I mean, he told us that he had at least 2 more like big time Wolverine stories planned. So I mean, like, this could be years down the line. I don't know. But when he decides, I've told all the Wolverine stories I want to tell, good luck to whoever has to take over for him, because that is gonna be really hard. He, like, you joked when we first had him on, like, this guy is like Wolverine, like real life Wolverine. I mean, aside from the violence in the adamantium skeleton, yeah, like, just boy,
Yeah.
he, by the way he writes the character, you can tell it's wild. So, uh, a lot of action in this event. Serious ramifications for the X-Men universe. If you've read House of X and Powers of 10, and Inferno, but not anything else, you'll probably miss some things here and there, but you'll still be able to keep pace, and have an idea of what's going on throughout this whole event. But a lot of fun, and I can't wait to keep reading Wolverine with Ben on the title. From DC this week, of course, we have Task Force Z issue 6, Harley Quinn 13. I didn't even know we had a Harley Quinn, like, right, HQ 13. Anyways,
Yeah.
Trials of Amazon Wonder Girl issue 1. I actually didn't finish the Trials of the Amazon initial issue, so I kind of want to go back to it. But I forget, it was Lauren over on Geeks Worldwide. I think she gave it a 10 out of 10. Really felt highly about it. It wasn't bad. It's just like this. Obviously, you can't read everything. That's the name of
Right.
the show. Aquaman, Green Arrow, Deep Target issue 6. I'll report back on that with the last issue. Deathstroke Inc. issue 7. I think for those who've read Robin, you'll like, this would be kind of a double up in a way for the issue. A little more backstory though on a character that was introduced in Robin. You got Rogues issue 1, which characters, like, I like Bronze Tiger, not a big like Captain Cold guy and some of those other characters that we see in this title, but I know we know these characters. I like the writing and the art in this issue, really awesome. The only issue is, like, I just don't care a whole heck of a lot about
Yeah.
these characters, but I really like this first issue, and absolutely going to read the second one, because for you, like, to not be attached to the characters that have been around for a long time, to me that's not a good reason to just give up on a book.
Right.
So really enjoyed it. Of course, you're reading The Human Target by your favorite writer in the entire world, Tom King. Issue 6 of that is out this week. And then you got 2 other books that you wanted to delve in a little bit deeper to. I'll let you take the reins. Detective Comics 1058 and Robin issue 12.
Yeah. So I've been talking about, I don't think a week has gone by where we've done what's new and I haven't discussed this book. It's just been really good. And we finally get, like, Batman plays a pretty big role in this book. And it looks like he's going to be playing more of a role going forward. So the recent storyline that's been going on, it has come to a conclusion, and they're setting up the next step. And surprise, surprise, Riddler is being teased for the next arc, story
Nice.
arc for the Detective Comics series. So Mariko Tamaki's been nailing it. And while I miss Dan Mora's art on this, the new artist has been killing it, and it's been a lot of fun.
Do you know who the new artist is, Joe?
Not
Okay,
the top of my head. It's because it's
you take a second to figure out who that friggin' artist is, and I'm going to tell everybody that, because I just want to touch on one thing. You bring up the Riddler, and Paul Dano just got announced as the next. He's going to be writing a Riddler story, and shame on me because I don't have the artist name. I will find it after Joe finds this artist, but. DC announces that Paul Dano is going to write this, which is cool and everything. But and shame on me for not noticing it right away too. We don't hear who the artist is right away for this, like, year 1 or year 0 Riddler story that we're going to be getting. I'm going to read it still because Paul Dano's writing it and everything. But I mean, how do you not do that when you're DC? Like, I just don't understand how artists get so, like, the disrespect that they get in this industry sometimes is just remarkable.
Yeah, and I'm gonna butcher this artist's name because they're new to me. And Aman K. Nulapen, I
Okay.
believe. And I probably butchered the hell out of that, but
Eh,
it's very Mora-esque. It's along the same vein. So there's a similar vibe to it, which is great. But the art's been great. Tamaki's writing has been phenomenal. Like, and what's going on, you could read Detective Comics 1059. That could be the first time you ever read it, and you'll be okay, because that's just kind of how the last story arc just ended. And Tamaki always does a good job at sort of filling in the readers without, like, hitting them over the head with it.
mhm.
So that's been really good. I'm enjoying that. And then Robin 12. So Robin 11 ended. Spoiler, the book's been out plenty
I
of
think
times.
you're fine. I think you're fine. Yeah.
So, he's been on, Lazarus Island, right? And he steals some of the Lazarus juice. And the last panel of issue 11 is him standing over Alfred's grave,
Yep, that's right. Yep, you told me
right?
this. Yep.
And so I'm thinking, is this now how they're going to bring Alfred back? And we know that Zdarsky's going to be taking over Batman, and so are they going to bring Alfred back? And so this was a tremendous issue. A lot happened in this issue. Some game changing stuff happened in this issue, and it continues to. It was weird because it did one of those things where it was like, story picks up, and then it named like a new series that's coming out. So I'm like, was this the end of Robin? And now they're shifting focus to this new book, but it looks like there's going to be more issues of Robin coming out. So
Nice.
it's not over. So thank God, because I'm enjoying the hell out of it. It's been one of my favorite books.
Williamson, yeah, you've been saying that since the start,
Yeah.
I got to give this series a look. To circle back on what I had said before, the artist for that Riddler book is going to be Subik Stevan, and I may have butchered the name, and I apologize, but that's phonetically how it looks. But either way, so DC, we move on to Image. We got Saga 57 this week. Of course, we don't get the review copies for Saga, so we have not gotten an early look at this. We'll report back on that with the next issue of TLDR. Of course, Department of Truth 17, Gunslinger Spawn issue 6, which is awesome. I think, I don't know, man. Like, Spawn's one of my all-time favorite characters, but like just every other day, it's like she Spawn. I kind of like her more. I kind of like Gunslinger more. It's just like I love them. I love the addition. I know you're more of a medieval Spawn guy, right?
I love medieval Spawn, but the last couple issues of Gunslinger Spawn have been fantastic.
It's amazing, and it's just like the movement of this series too is not like breakneck speed, like kind of some of the other stuff. Where King Spawn, I mean, King Spawn is not moving at the same speed as the Scorched, but it's moving at a pretty like even pace. Gunslinger Spawn feels like it's moving fast, but it's only gone so far in this first arc. But it's just been awesome. Like it's just exactly what I need with this character. Definitely unique in its own way from the other titles we got right now.
Well, I would say that for me, this is the slowest paced book of them all, except for maybe the mainline Spawn. But I haven't read that.
Except for the main line.
Yeah. I haven't read that one. Yeah. In 4 issues.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's moving like it's like in a way it moves at to me in a way it moves at like an even pace just because there's so much action. But in terms of the plot itself, it's no question it's the slowest moving of the 3 new Spawn books.
Yeah,
it's kind of wild in that regard. But I still love it. And then we got Ghost Cage issue 1, which we meant to give this one a look, haven't yet. Maybe one of us will report back on it next week. But then we got 2 other big ones that we wanted to dig in on. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Bolero 3, because I am behind on this series.
This is the trippiest, one of the trippiest books I've ever read. Right up there with the Secret Life of Layla Starr, whatever the hell it's called.
Yep. Is that Ram V?
Ram V.
Yeah.
Bolero's not Ram V, but
No.
man, this. I remember we got an advanced copy of this, and we tried to set up an interview. It just didn't work out. Oh, hey, kiddo. You want to say goodnight?
Yeah, we ran into some timing issues.
Say goodnight. Here we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Love you. Feel better, kiddo. And so unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to set up that interview, but like, man, this book, just like each issue, and they're long issues. I think this was like 50 something pages, right? And it's just trippy. It's meta. It's, this idea that this woman has so many, opportunities to live a life. And she keeps finding new ways to fuck it up. And now she's running out. I think she's like down to 1 jump left, sort of thing. So it was heavy. It was trippy, but it's fascinating as hell to read. It really is.
Yeah, I got to catch up. I like this. I read that first issue. Absolutely liked it. And like you said, it is bizarre. It definitely leaves you like on a note too, where it's like, what the fuck is going to happen with these?
And a lot of sacks. A lot of sacks.
I just felt like that after the first issue. Lord knows what's going to happen. I'm going to have to do a comparison with this and Sweet Paprika, because that one is like unparalleled. But then the other book we got from Image this week, and I haven't thought about the comic of the week yet because still got to read Saga as well every week that's out. That's like it's that book's week to lose. Like that's it's the title for Saga to lose or whatever. You know what I mean? But Philadelphia issue 20, man, it was right there. It's right there. And I know Rich Keefe, our friend of the show, of course, hosts #Dork, reads this when the trades come out. So I will say a little warning for those who are into trades like Rich is, and just wait on that for Philadelphia. When we get this, like last issue, we met a one George Washington, and then we get the stuff with him this issue in Seesaw Joe. I actually did write a review for this for Geeks Worldwide last minute. I'll tell you what, man. Like I'm listening to him talking. It's like, I didn't trust John Adams. I didn't trust Thomas Jefferson. And I still don't want to trust you. But then when you start talking about it, it's like, like it sounds like this guy's kind of got a halfway decent idea, like a halfway decent plan coming, as much as it involves, certain serious ramifications. But it's like your logic at least seems a lot fairer than what the other guys were trying to do.
Well, I think what he's done really well, what Rodney Barnes has done really well, especially with this last
Friend of the show,
arc.
Rodney Barnes.
Friend of the show. Yeah.
Got to watch the Lakers show. Where I know I'm behind on it, but apparently he's killing it.
Oh, yeah. And
Shocker.
He's in it too, which is
great. I saw that. That's great. Yeah.
What he's done really well, especially with this arc, but in general, when he's, drawing on these historical, figures, is that he's really kind of hammering home the point that those, who we feel are the least corruptible become the most corrupt. And you see, someone like John Adams, who was, supposed to be, all about the greater good and the truth and justice and all that. And what we see with, GW and, TJ and everything, like, it is fucking wild, man.
Yeah.
And to see those characters being written in a different light while able to also sort of take the current climate that we're in and make it relatable from their time to present, it is some special writing that he's doing right now.
I'm calling it though. Of the three, obviously we got with Adams, like it's been back and forth with in terms of his like presence in the book. I'm calling it. If there's one who's going to get the boot first, it's going to be GW. I have a feeling, yeah, because I think that I kind of like alluded to that suspicion in my review. I just think that he's the path he's taking. Eventually, he's going to like convince somebody of his logic, but then they're just going to say, all right, I love your logic, but I ain't working for nobody anymore again, because last time that happened, I got fucked over.
Yeah.
So, I'm loving it. Like these last two issues of Kill It All. This last one is right up there with the best ones. This one's probably my favorite right now. The other one was, of course, with Thomas Jefferson and Jupiter. That shit was nuts.
Yeah.
And Rodney kind of illuminated on this like a little bit, like, yeah, it went that way, but it could get really bad really fast. So, Rodney's been kicking ass with Philadelphia, with Nito Hawes. Got to, get on the Substack game with him too, because he's got all the other stuff going over there too within the Philadelphia world that I was very interested in. I'm going to breeze us through the other indies that we got this week, Joe. There's Power Rangers Universe issue 4 from Boom, an all new Firefly issue 2 from Dark Horse. We have Demons issue 1, which I may or may not be talking about today. We have Black Hammer Reborn issue 10, Stranger Things Kamchatka issue 1, which I'm not going to read this, but I just get like, I don't know if you ever played, did you ever play Risk?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, Kamchatka, always an important territory if you're trying to control the U.S.
That's right. Yep.
And then Count Crawley Amateur Midnight Monster Hunter issue 1. Then from AWA, we got 2 books that we're both reading: The Fourth Man issue 3, and of course one of our favorite horror books out there, in addition to Philadelphia, Hotel issue 4. Dynamite, there's Red Sonja issue 7, which you've been reading. And then Aftershock, we got Maniac of New York, The Bronx is Burning issue 4, and then The Lion and the Eagle issue 2. And that is it for what's new. Well, kind of. I mean, my book's kind of a new book that we'll be talking about in a way, but it's time for you, Joe, to tell us what book you're planning on talking about today.